We are now going to discuss global climate change, economic relations in the world, and future solutions. Good evening. We have a guest on the phone from Germany tonight, and we're happy to have her. I'm going to be pulling, I believe it's the girl. We've been talking on YouTube for several days. Tonight's topic is Greta Thunberg annihilates the critics. An advocate for Greta will be calling in from Germany tonight. Because of Greta Thunberg, less Europeans are flying less frequently. She's had an impact on the way people think and how they live their life. An excerpt from her speech is, just a moment, please. The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees Celsius and the risk of setting up irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. 50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution, or the aspects of equity and climate justice. They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist. So a 50% risk is not acceptable to us. To have a 67% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees in global warming and temperatures rising, the best odds given by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the world had 420 gigatons of CO2 left to emit back in January of 2018. Today that figure is already down to less than 350 gigatons. With today's emission levels, the remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone with less than 8.5 years. That was an excerpt from Greta Thunberg's UN speech, one of the first ones she gave globally. And I'm going to pull our German friend in, and then I'll pull in Wade and Don. Good evening, this is Jane. What's your name?
Hello?
Hi.
Do you hear me?
This is Jane. Yes, I can hear you well.
Yes, very good. I'm from Germany. My name is Dylan, like the famous Bob Dylan. It's an artist name because I'm working in the fields of science and music and sports.
Hey, by the way, I live 50 miles from where Bob Dylan grew up. He grew up in Hibbing, Minnesota.
Very good. Very good.
So, yeah, we're excited. I'm not going to pull my co-hosts in yet. We have Wade and Don on the line, and I want to hear what you have to say in your opening lines based on what you saw on our YouTube video.
Yes, the answer is no longer blowing in the wind, as Bob Dylan said. We now, in natural science, we have a solution for a happier and healthier future of mankind. We found it after 51 years of research in our World Council of Wise People. When you Google it, the correct name is the World's Council of Wise People, but Google reacts better when you just take the words World Council of Wise People. Then you find a homepage and you find in English spoken interviews about the reforms of the professors. And the basic idea is, let's talk about now how would we make the life in United States better. We want a cooperation with Greta Thunberg. We don't discuss about climate and other things. We don't care about such things. This is what Greta cares about, yes. But we offer a cooperation to Greta Thunberg if she, we would give a lot of money out of the. Yeah, first I have to say how we want to produce a lot of
may
money.
I ask you, what is your,
Yeah.
what do you think, what is your prescription for how climate should be handled, and what is Greta Thunberg doing right, and what is she doing wrong?
Yes, as I told you, the professors, the 24 professors here from Germany and Austria and so on, they want to make the United States to a healthier and better country that produces a lot of free money. And with the free money, we can do something in the field of climate, but not. It's not possible to use money now. When you use money now in a highly problematic economic system, you just ruin the economy. And this is what Greta does.
Are you trying to say that? Are you trying to say that first world countries that are driven by only economic success are ruining the environment? For example, a week ago in Mount Blanc, near Italy, there was a large glacier that collapsed and they had to close 2 roads. So there's evidence, but are you saying the United States is part of the bigger problem?
No, it's not so easy. We must, in the first step, the professors would make the United States very much more rich, produce a lot of free money, because the systems in what we have in the world are not very good. We are paying for the wrong things. We never pay a doctor for helping us never to get ill. We just pay him when we get ill, and so financially he can never be interested in our health. But we want to be healthy. We people want to live healthy and happy. But we pay every doctor and every industry. We pay more money. Our pharmaceutical industry, we pay a lot of more money when we get ill. But we never pay them for helping us to live healthy. The food industry, we never pay them for helping us.
I understand your point.
Better things. Yes.
I have 4 co-hosts that want to, Bob, I have 4 co-hosts that want to talk to you, and the show's only 45 minutes, so I'm going to pull them in.
Yeah.
So just be patient with me. Hi, Wade.
Hi, Jane. It's been a while. I'm glad I'm finally on the show again. Had finally some time off.
Thanks for calling in, Wade. I'm glad you made it. Don, good evening, Don.
Hi there, everybody. Hi, Jane. Hi, Wade. Hi, Mr. from Germany. What's your name?
His name's Bob, like Bob Dylan. My name. We also have John Yoder on the line, and Ben is now on the line. All 4 of you. So I'm gonna. Wade and Don caught most of what Bob said. John didn't, but who wants their first question? And I can schedule a show at 10 o'clock too, for the West Coast people. But for right now, we only have 45 minutes. So who wants to go first with a question for Bob?
I can ask a question that's just kind of like critics of Greta have been bringing up, and I would be interested to hear people's response to that. A lot of people are saying, why isn't she calling out China? Like she's calling out the U.S., but I've heard that China is like the worst producer, worst polluter, that it caused the most pollution. So I'm wondering your thoughts on why she's not like calling out other nations, but not the biggest polluters like China.
It's the question is going to me, yes, yes?
Sure, or anyone who has a thought on that.
Yes, Greta is a young child.
Yes, Bob, I want you to answer.
And she Greta has illusions about the world. She doesn't know that it's true. China is a bigger polluter than the United States or the other countries. But so we as scientists for future number 2, we say there is only one way. We should not listen to the what Greta wants is not realistic. We must tell Greta, we want a cooperation with Greta. We must tell Greta, and I do it here now, dear Greta, you have unrealistic ideas how the world functions. It does not work like you think. But we cooperate with you. We help the United States to become a more richer country. And then we give a lot of money, part of the money we produce in the United States by reforming the United States because we must reform the system. This is sure. Science says we cannot go on with this economic system. It will ruin everything. We must correct it, but we must not correct it in a socialistic way or in other crazy ways. We must change it scientifically. Then we produce a lot of free money, and a part of it we will use to make real things in the field of the climate. So we make a compromise. Dear Greta, we help you to your goals, and you help us. Yes, it's a cooperation. But yes.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Yes, Ben, go ahead.
Sure. Okay, you're talking like you are elevating Greta into a position of power she doesn't even have the capability of having. Saying that you would like to cooperate with a 16-year-old girl who happens
you just said that she wasn't realistic. He just got done saying she wasn't realistic.
No, Jane, don't stop me from my point. He said he wanted to cooperate with Greta as if she is a power structure. She's a kid. She's a kid that was subverted by her parents, her affiliates, and her schooling. She is not a power figure. The UN made a mistake by using a child to do their speaking, as if their speaking wouldn't have been believable, so they had to use a child with a disability to put her on the stage for them. That's my point. And my other point is that there is no such thing as free money.
The first point is totally clear for me. Greta Thunberg is a very mighty person right now, because might and power means contact to the big media. For the professors, the world is ruled by many powers, but one of the powers who rule the world and who rule the United States are the big media. And the big media are very interested in Greta, and they listen to every word of Greta. And now imagine Greta would say only one sentence. We should talk in the United States and in every talk show in the world, we should talk about the reforms of the Scientists for Future number 2, the World Council of Wise People. We should talk about the reforms, whether they will enable us all we want to have. And this would start discussion. The professors are waiting to talk in every talk show of the world, in Germany, in United States, and so on, in every talk show about how we can reform the United States of America, how we can reform Germany, and how we can reform Italy, and so on, and produce what I call free money. It's a result is if you throw money out of the window or burn money in a coal thing, you lose money. And our states are burning money, and our states are throwing money out of the windows because the systems are ineffective. Our healthcare system in Germany, we pay 365 billion every year. Every day we pay 1 billion euros only for health. Half of this 1 billion euro is for nothing. It's because of mistakes in the system. We pay the doctor more money when I get ill and when he helps me to get longer times ill. We give him a lot of money, but we never give him one euro for helping me not to get ill. We must change the system to a preventive system which helps us with funny health courses and helps us never to get ill. And when you pay in this
Okay, can I stop a minute?
Just change last sentence. Just change the way of paying would bring us billions of money that we can use for other goals.
I understand your point, Bob, and I wanted to respond, and then I'm going to let John and Don and a few others talk. First of all, we have another show at 10 o'clock for those who want to continue, because this show will be ending in 30 minutes. But anyways, my question for Ben is Ben, I understand, like, each person in the world is formed by their parental guidance, the influence, whether they're watching shows on the internet or being influenced by their peers. So I just want to know why your cynicism has gotten so deep that you can't even be inspired by a kid. It doesn't matter how she got there. She believes in her cause. And also my question for Bob is, do you think throwing money at things is going to solve things? I just want to know, Ben, why you're so cynical. Like, it's not the worst thing that ever happened, a kid standing up for what she believes in, whether you think she's a pup or not. I just want... Go ahead.
It's because I see the playbook that they've already used. They've already used this playbook. They used it with guns after the Parkland shooting. They used children. They let children out of school to make policy influence on our representatives based on emotional causes that they don't even understand. They don't understand fully the right to private property. They don't understand the reason for self-defense. They don't understand the reasoning behind the Constitution and how it was written. They haven't even been taught history. They've been taught
that
activism.
Was the Parkland students who were involved in the shooting. So they were, whether or not you thought it was a good idea, they were close. They were close to the subject matter. Yes, maybe a few rich Democrats propped him up, but here's a kid from Norway. I watched an interview she had.
Jane, it's not a few rich Democrats that propped them up. It's the entire media machine, as well as the entire Democrat Party. Do you see how big it is?
Okay,
it's bigger than both of those. It's also the UN.
I was wondering.
So when they brought when they brought Greta out, it wasn't like this is some anomaly where we have some kid to listen to. No, this is an old play that the UN is now using against us.
Well, even so, okay, then that leads me to two more points. Let's say there was a child on the Turkish-Syrian border who happened to be Kurdish, and he was going to die in 7 days because his village was going to be attacked by Turkey. Do you think they would prop a kid up like that? Or does it have to be somebody with wealthy connections?
Yeah, I don't know. They pick and they focus on a few points, a few people. There are so many people that have things to say, but they'll just pick one person. Like that's the thing. Like, I'm in support of Greta. Okay, she's doing something good for her, but there's an agenda why they're focusing on her. And there's other people like Michael Reynolds, who's also kind of an alarmist about environmentalism, but he's doing something. He's building these Earth ships, and he has a plan. And he says the hardest thing about what he's trying to do is government actually prevents him. And that's another thing. Why do they never talk about what government is stopping people from doing to make the world better?
Wait, I have a question for you. When you see a kid like Greta Thunberg in the news, and you're not necessarily a strong-leaning Democrat or Republican, what is your first impression? Does anybody on the show ever see a breath of fresh air when somebody like this rises to the surface?
You know, I honestly, I feel kind of bad. I don't want to be very cynical, but, I kind of see what Ben's talking about. I'm like, okay, this is an emotional play, I think, I feel kind of bad about it because, we do want kids to be concerned and involved. And I'm
well, the only thing I didn't like about her UN speech is that she was blaming the entire previous generation. And John is right about one thing. Like, she took a ship over to the UN, like some kind of ship with like low environmental damage. And John's a Republican, and he rides his bike to work every day. And I drive a 18-year-old Buick, so technically John's lifestyle is purer than mine. But like the whole thing is well, I want the German person to speak again because I don't want to hog the show. But basically, I think money's not going to solve the problem, but something's got to solve the problem. Just like when the world tried to bring the Kyoto Protocol all together and slow down emissions. So I'd like to have John or Don and Bob from Germany speak, and I'm going to back down so other people can talk. Ben, you can talk too. I don't care.
All I know is you guys got to be kidding me. Talking about Greta Thunberg, some little 13-year-old girl. Come on now. Because a lot
That's what I mean,
Don. Greta.
Don't just the Europeans on the air, okay?
Okay. What I was trying to say, I'm not just cynical for the point of being cynical, and I don't look at things from a strictly Republican point of view. I'm more of a libertarian, and I go my own way, but the way that the Democrat side has gone, it's completely lost. For how I see it, it's basically a globalist agenda. It's not even a national party anymore. But the thing that makes me cynical,
it's not just
the thing that makes me sound cynical is that it's
John,
not going to work.
Talk. We got plenty of time.
These emotional trigger points don't work on me. I'm a logical person, especially when it comes to legislation. I disregard all of the emotion. So when they try and tote out a child or somebody with a disability trying to be an activist for legislation, I only look at the logic of it. I don't care about the sob story, and I don't care about the tears. I only care about the logic and how smart the legislation is that they want. That's it. That's what makes me sound cynical to somebody who's affected by the emotional trigger. I'm not.
I'm not saying you're cynical. It's just that I've known you for 3 years, and it just seems like you and John think that every left-wing cause has some kind of sinister motive.
And you don't see a motive. So maybe to you it looks like
I don't see a motive, but I do. I'm not even a big climate change person, but I live in one of the coldest parts of the world, and I'm begging for climate change. Well, we just got a Minnesota has we had record rainfalls the last 2 years, and we've never had this much rain, so that's a little weird. But all I'm saying is, well, I'm going to let I'll let the German guy and you guys talk, and I'm going to step aside.
I don't understand every word what you're saying because we Germans, we are not so perfect in English. But I try to make some points. Scientists just watch the facts. We don't care about who's standing behind Greta and so on. For us, it's only important Greta has contact to the big media. We don't have contact to the big media, but Greta has. And we must change our economic situation because it's clear we must give our whole industry, we must give more money when they help us to live a happier and healthier life. We are talking in science about well-being notes. With well-being notes, at every election, I tell my well-being note, my actual well-being note, and so I decide how much money the economic. Think about my food supermarket. I go to the supermarket, buy with my health care card, I buy my foods, and if I get healthy by the things the supermarket offers me, he gets more money. And so we have to change the whole economic system in a health improving and life quality improving system, and we must give the companies good money, but not for destroying the environment, not for plundering, not for ruining the environment, but for repairing the environment. Because I can only live in a clean environment, not in a poisoned environment. So we must give the industry more money when they help us to live in a clean environment, a happier and healthier life. And this is possible. This is what the reforms of the professors do. Then we get a good industry, an industry that cleans the planet. And this would bring us a lot of money. We would all have more money. We can even lower the taxes.
So I have a question, Bob. Isn't Germany one of the cleanest places? Isn't Germany one of the cleanest environments on Earth? Like they have clean factories, they have clean car emissions, they have beautiful land that they don't destroy.
In Germany, they are doing the same mistakes like in the United States. They let a wild economic system, a crazy economic system, let them in Germany. They let them destroy the economy, the whole country and the whole environment. It's the same as in the United States.
I didn't know that because I have friends from Germany.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you have.
It was my understanding, since remember how everything got destroyed in World War II? Well, it was my understanding. I have a friend from Stuttgart, and actually one of our radio hosts lived there, but he's not. I understand that Germans have very precision-oriented, environmentally safe companies, and that they attempt to preserve the land. That's what I learned. Yeah. And they have one of the most highly intelligent populations in the world. They have well-educated people who are able to do that.
Yes, but in Stuttgart we have very much air pollution. We have big problems with too much cars and too much. And so we have worldwide, we have all the same problems. We must change our economic system into a better economic system. And the professors know how to do it. They can make the reforms. We have a former states minister in our team and so on. They know how political processes work. We can make the healthcare reform. We make the reform of the police system. We can make the reform of every system in a country. And then
So can we,
just
do you think they should do it nation by nation or globally? Because
we can do
John
it
and Ben
only
always
nation by
say,
nation.
are you a globalist or a nationalist? And by the way, you guys, we have 15 minutes left, and anybody can call back in at 10. Go ahead.